bit about the year that you were born and where you were
Okay. Hi, so I'm Virgie Diane Jones. I was born 1956, and I was born in Chris County Hospital, which is in Cordell, Georgia.
born. All right, great.
Uh,
So Chris County Hospital, Cordell, Georgia. So you were born in a hospital.
Correct. Yes, I was. Uh-huh.
Okay. And your
I,
hospital, was it a segregated hospital? Was it a white hospital, a black hospital, or was it just a general hospital?
as far as I know, it was a general hospital.
Okay. All right. And that was in 1956.
Correct. Uh-huh.
All right. Great. So talk to us about, you were born in Chris County, Georgia, in Cordell. Tell us about how you ended up in New York.
So when I was in third or fourth grade, my parents came up to New York. My grandmother lived in Vienna, Georgia, which is 9 miles away. So our parents brought my baby brother with them. They came, I think it was June, and then they came back that September and got my other brother. And me and my sister, we stayed like another year because I want to say they sent for us to come up on the train. My grandmother took us up to Atlanta by Greyhound bus to get on the train, and we took the Amtrak train coming up to New York. And I tell you, that was the longest train ride. I felt like the train was running off the tracks. I had never been on a train before. So we met my parents in Grand Central Penn Station at New York. And I saw all the escalators and all these people. I was frightened, but I was glad to see my parents.
Okay. So what I want to clarify though, just because I know this story, is that when you say we, it was you and your sister that were on the train together. So your grandmother didn't come with you.
Correct. She took us, as she told us, she took us as far as she can take us to Atlanta. And that was like, what, about 100 and something miles from Vienna, Georgia. And she took the bus back to Vienna.
Wow. So you and your sister, so you were like 12, 13 years old. And
No, believe it or not, I was 11 or 12. Yeah, because I was going to the sixth grade.
okay, so you were going into the sixth grade. So this was the late 60s because you were born in 56. And you and your sister are on this train. You've never been on a train before. Y'all are country kids. And now you're on this train, the two of you together, on your way to New York.
Seemed like we would never get there.
Wow. Wow. And I know, just because I know this story, my aunt tells that you cried the whole way there. So is that true?
I think halfway, because it was over 12 hours. So,
okay,
but my
so you get there to New York and you see your parents. So I'm sure you were very, very relieved.
Very relieved, and they were relieved too.
Yeah, I'm sure, because they didn't know, they were hoping you were going to be on the train, but during that time they didn't know. Okay, so tell us a little bit about your experience with the civil rights movement. So I think it's unique because you were born in the Deep South, but you were raised mostly for your teenage years anyway in the North. So tell us about your experience with the civil rights movement.
So when we were in the South, I didn't realize it, but we were segregated. And I think the year that we left, the white kids was going to be on the bus with us or whatever to go to school. So when I came to New York, outside of the block on Culver Street, the even side, that was the first year that they were being bused. And the even side of the street was bused to Howard Beach, Queens, PS 207.
And that was an Italian neighborhood, right?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Wow.
And I was the only Black girl in my class. But I had a wonderful, I think he was Jewish or either Irish, and his name was Mr. Merle. And he made me feel very comfortable. And the kids in the class made me feel comfortable too. They would invite me to their house, like for parties, pool parties, or pizza parties and things of that nature. And I'll never forget, because I only went sixth grade there, that when we had our little graduation, my parents came because they were always very involved in our school activities. So my parents came and all the kids went home, but my parents didn't know that I could go home. So Mr. Merle called my parents and asked them, was it okay if he takes me to get a slice of pizza? And we went on Cross Bay Boulevard to get a slice of pizza. And that afternoon, I took the bus home.
Wow. Wow. And that was at a young age. So I know obviously that later on you became an educator. You were a banker and an educator. But I would imagine that that experience with Mr. Merle had some impact on your desire to later be an educator.
It did. It did, not knowing it. And then it seemed like he paved the way because afterwards I came back to the neighborhood school. And after high school, being in the chorus, All City chorus, it was the arts was very popular then. And I went to Midwood High School, which is over in Flatbush and right by Brooklyn College. And during that time, there were a lot of protesters and a lot of different things going on. But once again, I was predominantly one of the few Blacks that were there. And we used to it was like 12 of us because we were in chorus. And we used to get on the bus at 5:30 in the morning. We were first we took the bus, three buses to get there. Then we started taking the train because we found out if we got on the 5:35 train, then we would get the 6 o'clock bus at Rockaway Parkway, the last stop on the L. And then we'd only have to take one train that would let us off right in front of the school. And in my senior year at Midwood, I had to have English early in the morning, and we did Shakespeare, and I'll never forget that lady because I thought it was so boring the way she was teaching it.
Okay. So you mentioned protest, that you witnessed the protest. So during the civil rights movement, that was a time when there were a lot of different protests going on. Did you participate in any of that at all?
No, I didn't because I was scared, and my parents had told us, and also school administration had told us, even though you were close to Brooklyn College, we were literally, 2 blocks away, so go the opposite way. So we would stay over on Bedford Avenue and Avenue H.
So you were fearful that being part of those protests would cause you harm, but also.
And my dad always told us, because he came through the Jim Crow and everything, he said, out of all he went through, he's never gone to jail. So if we ever got in jail, unless it was, it wasn't our fault, that free phone call, don't call him, call our friend that helped us get in jail.
So that left an indelible imprint,
yes,
I'm sure, on your life. Okay. All right. That's a fascinating story. From that story, I always take from it too, just the fact that you living on the even side of the block was the thing that made such a difference between the education that you received. And even if you think of maybe the parallel lives that you might have had with others who lived on the other side of the block, how the trajectory might have been just so different just from making that decision in that point in time. That always strikes me. Okay. So last question. What do you want to tell others or, the future generations about your life? What do you want your legacy to be?
The legacy that I'm a hard worker. I believe firmly in God. I trust in him. And I would tell them to always keep God in their life. And in all things, give thanks. And also to remember the sacrifices of their parents, their aunts, their uncles, their tribe that they've gone through and endured so that they'll have a better tomorrow. But most of all, keep their faith and trust in God, and also be themselves. They're unique. They're princesses, they're prince, they're kings, and they're queens, and they can and will do. And do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And always look to be able to give back. We're a blessing to be a blessing.
Awesome. I appreciate so much this conversation. This has been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we have to find a way to be able to record more of these things. But I appreciate the time that you took, and I'm sure that everyone else will also get something from this talk. Thank you very much, Ma.
You're welcome. Thank you. God.
So I am so excited to be here, to be able to have another installment of our Black History Moments with some of our elders. And I'm excited that today I get to talk to Deacon Roosevelt Forbes. I've known Deacon Forbes my entire life, and I know that he has an amazing story. So I want to dig in and give him the opportunity to share. So Deke, tell us about where you were born and the year that you were born.
I was born in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1930 at midnight.
At midnight? Uh-oh.
midnight. And, you know, it was quite a few years after I was born, but my mother got in labor on the 3rd, and I always used the 3rd for that day for, for on my Social Security and everything that I had.
Right.
And come to find out after 25 years that I was born at midnight.
So the 4th.
Huh?
So you were born on the 4th instead of the 3rd.
Right.
Wow. Wow.
So I had to change all the information, but I still got some things, driving license, my 3rd still coming in on a lot of the things.
Wow.
Coming in on the 3rd because of that era.
Yes. So tell us about in 1930, where were you born? Were you born in a hospital? Were you born through a midwife?
No, I think the hospital was suffering there because the hospital was very low. And I was born by a midwife. And most all people that were born back in those days, a midwife did that.
Right.
Born by a midwife.
Okay.
And they weren't going to the hospital, man.
Wow. How many brothers and sisters do you have, D?
I have 4 brothers and 1 sister.
Okay. Okay.
That I can fellowship with.
Okay. Okay. All right. So tell us, how did you end up in New York City?
Well, my sister graduated from high school, and what year, I don't know, my memories is kind of slipping.
That's okay.
But anyway, she graduated from high school. And then in that time, when you graduate from high school, they would send you away to another state to get a job and go to work.
Right.
That's from down south. And so she came to Boston.
Oh.
And she was in Boston, Massachusetts, and she's up there for about 6 to 8 months. And in Boston, that time, Boston was so prejudiced it was in the South. So they migrated from up there back down to New York.
Okay.
And they got jobs here in New York, and they liked New York much better.
Uh-huh.
And she was enjoying, she had a good job. She would come home, she'd come back down there on a Christmas, Christmas 49, and to visit.
Mm-hmm.
And meanwhile, when she come back, I had went to Pineywood College.
Okay.
I was in Pineywood College for a year and about 18 months. And I got expelled from there. And I come home and I went to work there. I worked at the house for one season, one winter
Mm-hmm.
at the compress. And she come home that Christmas. And I come back to New York with them.
Okay.
And that's how I got in New York. And we taken the train to Birmingham, Alabama, and had tickets for the Silver coming to New York. And it looked like we're gonna never get here.
I imagine.
We rode all that night, all that day, and the night again. In the daytime, we got here in New York. I said, boy, I don't know where we are.
Wow.
But we come to New York by 10 o'clock in the morning, got off the Silver Comet and took the 8 train to Utica Avenue up to Monroe Street. We rode the trolley. They had trolleys in New York then.
Wow.
And the trolley was 5 cents. And 5 cents you ride all over New York.
Wow.
And got there, that's how I got in New York, and I've been here ever since. Go back, I've been back to visit and everything because I had a lot of parents and everything, man.
Wow. So what was that train ride like back in the 40s? Like this is the end of the 40s, right?
Yes.
So what was that train ride like for you? Was it a segregated train? What was it?
Well, the train was mostly segregated in some spots. The white was up on one end and the black was on the other end. But everything seemed to work out good. It was the ride, I'm used to riding horses and mules.
Right.
You sit on a train for all this another time,
Yeah, yeah.
Wondering when are we gonna get there?
That's a long
How are we
ride.
gonna get there? How are we gonna get there?
Right, right.
All these things, cross your mind. And
Yeah.
we coming in next, New York, the next stop. Oh boy. It, it look like we're gonna never stop.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
We
So,
was, we was
okay.
riding in New York for a long time. I said, when are we gonna get to the station? And it looked like we're gonna never get to that station.
Wow.
Finally
But you
got
made
there.
it.
We made it.
You made it. What did you think of New York when you got here?
Well, I seen all the buildings and all the antennas. People, that's when television first come out,
Yeah.
and it was, I think it was what, 4 inches wide,
Oh my
T
God.
first TV,
Yeah.
and everybody had several of these antennas up on the roof, and they would tell me those are TV antennas. Yeah. So my landlord, she didn't have a TV, but a friend of my sister's, uh, they had TV, and we went to see her TV, watch it. That was my first adventure with TV.
With the television. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and we just grew from there.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
looking for work. I wanted to go to work,
Mm-hmm.
and the house she lived in, her husband, she did construction,
Okay.
and that's how I got into construction through him.
Okay.
'Cause I had some more jobs. I had 3 or 4 jobs before I got to him. The first job I had was with my cousin. He was in New York. He was floor waxer.
Okay.
So I worked with him about, I don't know, maybe about 3 or 4 months. Then the guy that downstairs they needed a driver, a truck driver. And the truck driver, floor waxing, I was only making $55 a week.
Mm-hmm.
The truck driving, I was making 65. Hey, I just go from one to the other, more money.
Right, right, right. Sure.
Yeah, in 51 and 52, General Motors come out with this Holiday 88.
Okay.
In 51, it was for 52. It was the prettiest thing I ever seen. I said, I'm gonna get that car.
Wow.
And how can I get a car with the price, with the money that you make it?
Right.
So in construction, it was murder. Construction, they were paying $75 a week. You can make $75 a week plus your overtime.
Oh
So you
boy.
can make yourself 100. You can make yourself 120, 130, $140 a week. I said that's for me. I went into I went into construction, and I was a man. I always challenge everything, and construction was heavy. See, back in those days, they didn't have high lows and anything to load trucks.
Right.
Everything was done by hand. So
Mm.
you had a group of guys to load the truck, then you had to take a group of guys to unload the truck. They
Gotcha.
didn't have everything was done by hand in the old-fashioned way. You just grew from time to time. And then again, being in construction, they only worked in the summer. They didn't
Got it.
have, they couldn't work in the winter because they didn't have no chemical for their concrete. So the
Okay.
outfit that I was working for, they had a concrete outfit. So I think it was 54, 55, they got to find out, they put a chemical in the water and the concrete wouldn't freeze. And they were
Mm.
booming ever since.
And
Then
that's
we,
how they kept it for the whole year round.
yes, the whole year round. And
Wow.
then, especially the winter, because
Hmm.
we don't need it in the summer because it's nothing going to freeze in the summer.
But
So
the
this
win.
is for the winter. You work the whole winter.
Okay.
And hey, it was booming. I made money and finally got that Holiday 88.
Look, you got your car. Look at you. And I know that you bought some properties and things like that as well.
Yeah, I was buying everything back in them days. Yeah.
You was
Got
buying
married.
everything, right?
Yeah. Got married and zooming around all over the city, learning the city, driving
Yeah.
all over town.
Good for
And then
you.
again, when I first got the first car I got was a boat was a 36, yeah, a 36 Buick.
Okay.
Because they start out and it only cost $75.
Oh my gosh.
That 36 Buick cost $75. So I bought that one weekend. I got paid, and I come home. I said, "What do you got?"
You got a new car. Oh my goodness. Wow.
Yeah, it was a tough car because it burned oil. it smoked and everything.
Oh my
Cops
gosh.
after but it was only $75. And
Right.
you didn't never had to worry about having oil change.
Right.
You
Right.
I go to the gas station and get the oil that they dumped out, the other guys dumped out of their car. I get a gallon.
And put it right in there. Wow.
It's gonna smoke. That's the
Wow.
toughest car. They don't make that kind of car no more.
Yeah, they don't. So I can definitely appreciate that. Now we know that the 60s and the 70s were also really important times for civil rights. So tell us
Yes,
just a little bit about your experience with the civil rights movement. Did you attend
civil rights
protests?
movement, civil rights movement, and Jim Crow and Bracicle was in construction high because in construction you always had a lot of guys that they want to. You had the hardest work on the job, and you always want a dog year, and a lot of times you get a job and you be the last one that they hire, and then when the work gets slow, you first one they lay off,
Mm-hmm.
and then you had work that anybody just couldn't do.
Right.
For me, I went into work. It's just like it was training for me.
Mm-hmm.
I went into construction and I worked like a horse. I carried heavy lumber, like cross ties. You see cross ties on the railroad? The
Yeah.
8x8. I carried them all day long on my shoulder. My shoulder was so sore, blood running out of it.
Wow.
I didn't stop. I didn't stop, let nothing stop me. It was just like a fighter getting ready for a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I did this for 10 years
Mm-hmm.
and I was hard as a rock.
Hmm?
And I had the strength of a lion.
I'm sure.
And I had a lot to say to the guys around me
Okay.
until everybody feared me,
Live on YouTube, Little
me and a
Rock
couple more
Baptist
guys.
Church, East New
See,
York,
when you had a
Brooklyn,
strength and you talk to guys
New York.
a certain manner, a certain way, they shut up, they don't talk, they don't bother you.
Right.
And then again, I think it was 57, the civil rights movement started moving in.
Yes.
And in New York here, they had a coalition here. They was all the guys were getting together, bus loads. They come out on a construction job, shut it down. You had to put them on. And this was Sharpton. He was just beginning to
Yeah.
come into, and I forget this other man's name was running for the construction workers, but he had bus loads of guys. I mean, guys were hungry for jobs and hungry for money.
Right.
We come out on a job, we took over.
Wow.
And tell the guys, look, we come out here today, and tomorrow you will put 3 or 4 men on your job. And the guys, we're gonna shut you down. And they did it. And then we had a movement going, guys were going around and everybody. All the Italian boys, most of them, they would be mad, but they was kind of, shook up and kind of feared us.
Yeah.
But anyway, it worked out.
Yeah.
And then again, we come on up to this, coming into the 60s. And the coalition wanted to put men in electrician, want to put men in plumbing,
Right.
and want to put men in carpentry and everything. And this went one by one. And we had a battle going on. The electrician that was there, you had to take apprentice. They went, oh, we ain't gonna work with no apprentice. They gonna work with apprentice. And they made it to law. And they quit their job. They gave up. They gave up. They retired. All the old timers
Mm-hmm.
because they weren't gonna train nobody to do their job.
Right.
They retired and they got all new men and everybody come in. They took apprentice. Guys got into electrician,
Mm-hmm.
plumbing. Guys got into plumbing, carpenter. Guys got into carpentry. And just the way this thing went. It wasn't
Right.
easy.
Right.
It was a fight
Wow.
all the way. And we had fights.
I can
We had
imagine.
fights night and day.
I can
Yeah.
imagine.
We didn't.
Wow.
We got to the place we didn't care,
Right.
And it was an experience.
Right. But you made it, and you did.
Oh,
You were able to build an amazing life for yourself and your family and your
yes.
children. So when you think about the legacy, because this is my final question, when you think about the legacy that you want to leave for future generations, what legacy do you want to leave? What do you want them to know?
Well, the most thing and the biggest thing that I would tell young people, see, back in them days, I didn't know the Lord,
Mm,
and I went to church every Sunday. My mother was a religious woman. We went to church every Sunday, had to go. But I still going to church. You're going to church every day, but you don't know the Lord is a different story.
right.
And I found I learned things the hard way because God has a way. My mother was a praying woman. And I tell you one thing, if you save and you pray for your children, God will answer your prayer. You'll see that your children grow up and have a religious background,
Sure.
and he'll save them and he'll take care of them. Because I could have been dead many times. But God brought me through all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even know it. But then again, I joined this church. I would always go to church. I went to this church and they were praying. They had a revival, and I was in this revival, and the Lord touched my heart, got inside of me, and changed me completely.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know that I wasn't here because of my own strength. It
Yeah.
was He that brought me, He that kept me, and the prayers of the saints, prayers of your mother. It means a lot for your children.
Mm-hmm.
And mother and father pray, your children's gonna have success, and God's gonna take care of them, and He's gonna protect them. And this I tell all young men: whatever you do, make contact with God and give your life to God, and He'll take care of you because you can't do these things on your own. You know, I had uh, so many shortcuts with death,
Mm.
and I could have been dead many years ago. I remember on the construction, I was working on a scaffold. The scaffold broke me. I fell 50 feet
Wow.
out off the scaffold on a concrete floor, and I broke this wrist here, which is broken today. And I was out of work for about 9 months
Sure.
with a cast on it. Another 9 months in rehab. And I finally got back into it, and
Yeah.
God bless me. You know, I tell you, it wasn't easy. But I say, if you stay with God and answer and honor Him, He gonna honor you and take care of you.
I
I,
appreciate that. And
I,
that's,
tell,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I tell that to all young people. With a lot of beatings that I taken and falls that I had, I wouldn't. I say I wouldn't have had them if I'd have had God in the right place in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
But
follow
I
God.
tell all,
Stay,
yeah,
stay close to God. Stay close to
stay
the
close to God.
Word. I think that that's an amazing legacy. You have such an amazing story, Deke. I thank you so much for sharing it with us, and I know that other people are going to learn from it as well. So thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, dear.
All right. Take
Yeah,
care. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
What is your most vivid memory?
My most what?
Vivid memory of segregation?
I never had a problem with it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Some people did, but I didn't, and I still don't today.
Okay.
Because we all are God's children,
Mm.
and that makes the difference.
Right.
I'm a child of the Lord, and I don't think about that negative stuff, and I never did.
Mm.
It's like I can get along with, everybody, like where I live at.
Mm-hmm.
We have 5 blocks, as I know of. I'm on the front block, and it's 4 behind me. Now, if there's anybody out here black, I ain't seen them yet. But the good Lord did that for me. And I'm very well satisfied with where I live at. And content. And only through God's grace and mercy keep me. And that's how I got here.
Okay.
And what it was, my husband said when we was getting ready to move, preparing to move, he said he wasn't going to Jacksonville. And he wasn't going to stay in Vienna, Georgia. That was the time we was in.
Okay.
In the country. And he made the choice. He started looking, and this is the choice he made. And when he made the choice, I was ready to, so we ended up moving here in '96. That's how long I've been living right here. It's 96.
And the whole time, most of the time, the only black, you know.
Right, that's what I'm saying, yeah.
Wow.
And I have no problem with that. And everybody that knows and sees me says, hello, how are you, this and that. We ain't, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't even know. I never had to go through segregation
Mm-hmm.
because I thought different and I treated people different and people treated me different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we all are God's children.
Right.
No matter what you do and how you do, you still God's children.
Right.
And I'm a child of the King. I am
Mm-hmm.
grace and mercy of God. And all of my children, grandchildren, and everything. I'm grateful and thankful for it. But it's only by the grace and mercy of God.
Yeah.
And sick as I was 2.5 years ago, look at me now.
Right.
I feel good, I eat good, and I sleep good.
Yeah.
So what else can I do? But only for the life and the my Savior prayers, and then my Lord.
Yeah. So again, you said when y'all moved to New York, because granddaddy, you already had kids when you was in Georgia.
Oh, right. Oh, everybody was born in Georgia.
Okay. And how did y'all end up in New York? Like why New York?
My brother-in-law,
Okay.
Sonny, your daddy's granddaddy's brother,
Mm.
and he won persuaded us. Well, that's where he was living at the time.
Okay.
But then he disappeared. Nobody don't know where he went. He did all kind of stuff, but at least we know better, you know. And that's how we end up in New York. But he the one persuaded your granddaddy to go to New York.
Okay.
And told him that, you know, about jobs and things, he'd make more money there, which he would.
Okay.
And your daddy said, you know, he was from, his mother was very poor.
Mm.
And he never had an opportunity to do nothing, you know, considering, and then living in Georgia. And he said he's going to try New York to see could he live a better life, you know, more, whatever. And that's what it is. Lord blessed him with the state job and everything. He took the test 1 year, the next year they called him on that job.
Mm.
And I'm still getting his benefits from that job.
Wow. Okay. All right. So where were you born and in what year?
I was born in Georgia, Vienna, Georgia, in the country. My parents was farmers. They had farms. And I was outside of the city limit. And I was born 1934, December 2nd.
All right, so we are excited to be.
All right, I want to say, I apologize. We seem to have a technical snag, but I hope that you were able to enjoy the portion that has been presented. And let me just say this, I want to say that we thank Sister Deanna and Brother Brother RJ for sharing this for us. And I want to ask that, and I mean this from my heart, I don't want us to wait until the next Black History Month to do this, but want to encourage everybody to start now, to speak with your family members that are of a certain age. Start to interview them now, and let's start to document the story of our people so that Black History Month is not just a time for February, but all through the year, we might be able to share. And when we share, we'll share in such a way that our people would know where we're from. We stand on the back of some great people. I want to thank Sister Virgie, Brother Forbes, Sister Jackson, for sharing a portion of their story. I want to encourage everybody to let's continue to reverence and respect the history of our people because we're a people of strength. We're going to leave, there's a song I want to leave with that says, "Where I am now is not where I'm going to be." This will be our closing song.
Hold on, be strong. After a while, in the midst of the sun, in the midst of the rain, I know the sun is gonna shine. Sun is gonna shine. Sun is gonna shine. Be strong. The sun is gonna shine. The sun is gonna shine. The devil don't want you to make it. The sun is gonna shine. I said the sun is gonna shine. Sun is gonna shine. Sun is gonna shine. Sun is gonna shine. Yeah, somebody give God the glory. Somebody give God the praise if you believe it. If you receive it, I speak change in your life. I speak breakthrough. I speak miracle after miracle, miracle after miracle, miracle